Welcome to today's explainer. I want you to picture something for a second. Imagine your wallet suspended right in front of you, like we're zooming into it in a high-def 3D documentary. It seems totally harmless, right? Just a convenient little everyday tool. But today, we're going to peel back the leather and look at the hidden mechanics operating right inside your pocket. Because the foundation of modern personal finance hides a fascinating and honestly, a kinda unsettling truth. We're exploring source material boldly titled The Dark Side of Credit Cards, and we're confronting a reality that you literally never hear about in those flashy commercials or the brightly colored mailers promising you endless cash back. Think about that little piece of plastic you carry around. From day one, we're taught to be responsible, right? Save our money, build up that nest egg. Yet when you actually look at the structure of major financial institutions, there's this massive underlying mechanism working in the exact opposite direction. So here's the big question. Why does the massive architecture of modern finance actually prefer that you owe them money rather than you giving them your money to hold? It's a total paradox, and it's our compass for today's investigation.
Part 1. The Dark Side Revealed.
Now, when we say the dark side, we're not talking about some comic book villainy here. It's a very practical, structural reality. It's the hidden financial reality where consumer debt is fundamentally engineered for maximum institutional profit. And the absolutely crucial word there is engineered. It's not an accident. It's not some weird byproduct of the system. The debt itself is the product, and your credit card is just the delivery mechanism. When you swipe that card, you're plugging into a meticulously designed machine that operates primarily to generate returns for the institution, not just to help you check out faster at the grocery store. Part 2. Debt versus savings. Let's put these two ideas side by side. They actually represent two totally different philosophies of how a financial institution views you. Over on one side, with a savings account, you're basically a custodian storing value. But the moment you transition into credit card debt on the other side, your role completely shifts. You go from being a depositor to an active, profit-generating engine for the institution. The system treats these two states of being incredibly differently. Which brings us to the illusion of standard usage. We're taught to just tap, swipe, and insert our cards without even thinking. You grab a coffee, you buy groceries, you book a flight. The friction is completely gone. But that absolute convenience, it's a brilliant illusion that masks the underlying reality of the design. The whole thing is built to make your transition from standard everyday usage into revolving debt as frictionless and invisible as possible. The sheer ease of use is the exact thing obscuring the dark side we're talking about today. Let's break down the core tension here. It's simple. Savings equals consumer benefit, debt equals institutional profit. It really is that stark. There's this fundamental conflict between the idea of you building your own personal wealth and you fueling the massive financial engine of the card issuer. When you save, the primary beneficiary is you. But when you carry debt, the primary beneficiary is them. And trust me, the system is acutely aware of this equation, even if we rarely think about it when we're standing at the cash register.
Part 3. The Profit Engine.
This brings us to the central, super provocative thesis from our source material: why debt is more profitable than savings. This right here is the bedrock that the entire credit card industry is built on. And we're not talking about it being just a little bit more profitable. The actual mechanics of how debt operates, how those balances revolve and multiply over time, make it exponentially more lucrative than simply holding on to the cash you deposit. Just to visualize this, the revenue generated by managing savings is completely dwarfed by the revenue generated from credit card debt. We don't even need the exact percentages to grasp the sheer scale of the undeniable disparity here. It's not just a small gap, it's a massive chasm that completely dictates how these financial institutions operate. And because of that massive profit disparity, a pretty chilling reality emerges. The system is designed to prefer debt. It's literally just the inevitable outcome of the math. If one side of the business is dramatically more profitable than the other, the entire architecture of the institution is going to bend toward the profitable side. Every single marketing campaign, every flashy rewards program, every sleek app interface on your phone, it's all ultimately structured to encourage the behavior that fuels that massive profit engine. As a result, the institutional focus is completely skewed. The absolute lion's share of the system's energy, resources, advertising dollars, and strategic planning is dedicated to acquiring, maintaining, and growing consumer debt. That is the engine keeping the lights on. Your savings? They're basically just a footnote. Your debt is the main event. Part 4. The final verdict. So let's quickly recap what we've uncovered today. First, we looked at the dark side, the reality that credit cards are engineered for institutional gain, not just your convenience.
Second, we recognize the massive profit discrepancy, seeing how debt utterly eclipses savings when it comes to value for the system. And finally, we now understand that because of this wild discrepancy, the entire financial system inherently prefers and aggressively pushes for your debt. Which leaves us with this really heavy realization. Your debt is their most valuable asset. Talk about a massive paradigm shift, right? We usually think of our houses, our cars, or our retirement funds as our assets. But to the architects of the credit card industry, the balance you carry over from month to month, that's their gold mine. The dark side of credit cards is simply the reality that your financial liability is the literal bedrock of their financial success.
So I'm going to leave you with a lingering question. Now that you know the dark side, and now that you've seen the actual blueprints of the profit engine, how are you going to use the card in your pocket? The system is fundamentally designed to prefer your debt, but the real power you have is deciding whether or not you're going to give it to them. Keep exploring, stay curious, and always question the mechanics behind the convenience.